What's up, my fellow degenerates? My name is Rod, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, hello, howdy-o, nice to have you here today. Today I wanted to make a video about something that has been boiling my piss for several months now, and is one of my biggest peeves when it comes to getting comments as an artist. A few months back, I made a video in which I talked about how self-deprecating and comparing your art to others' art is harmful to your artistic development and your own self-confidence. Now, I wish I'd mentioned it back then, but recently, well, I found that forcibly having my art compared to others' art is just as demotivating, hurtful, and rude as when others self-deprecate and compare their work to mine and put themselves down. Now, before I dive into this video topic as a whole and get into every single aspect of my feelings on the subject, I have to mention this caveat because if I don't, there will be at least a couple people commenting like, well, I like having my art compared to other people's. I can acknowledge that there are probably a few people out there that like having their work compared to popular media or having their work compared to an artist that they like. If getting a comment like, "Oh my gosh, your style looks just like Steven Universe," is something that you either like or don't mind, then all power to you. However, the vast majority of artists that I have spoken to have said, even in passing, that having their work compared to other things that exist is either annoying or hurtful. So even if having your work compared to something that you like doesn't bug you, don't make that assumption of everyone. From what I understand, most people don't like it. That disclaimer out of the way, let's now talk about inspiration in general. There is this really weird idea in the art community as a whole that inspiration is a crime and that any similarities between two or more pieces of work is automatically copying and the evil copycat should get thrown into the gulag and perish immediately. There's rarely any nuance I have noticed, especially among younger artistic crowds, about what constitutes as copying or plagiarism and what just constitutes as inspiration. I'm not going to get too much into it because I'd imagine that there are probably a lot of other people who have discussed the difference between inspiration and copying before, but the issue is complicated. As an example, there are many brown-haired high school girl side characters in different anime who look exactly the same character design-wise. However, to claim that they're automatically a rip-off of each other ignores the differences that they may have in personality, story, role in the plot, etc. To say that they're automatically copies of each other just kind of boils down their entire character into a muck, and very much ignores the nuances of each piece of media. Hell, even if they were nearly the exact same character actually, anime companies would not be justified in suing each other because nobody owns the concept of a cute brunette anime girl side character. So many of the things that artists use to accuse people of copying are concepts or ideas that aren't owned by anyone. So even if, say, one artist took inspiration from another and designed a character with, say, a similar hairstyle, hair color, and skin tone that another artist's character had, they wouldn't be doing anything wrong legally. Heck, as long as the characters are clearly visually different and don't just look like clones of each other, there isn't even really a moral issue with it. Cards on the table, I am inspired by a lot of different artists and pieces of media. My art is informed by the kinds of things that I have seen and that I like. I see media that I like and I take ideas from it to incorporate into my work. Every single artist does this, sometimes even unintentionally. People simply picture things in their mind and create them based on things that they have already seen and things that appeal to them. Think about it. Anime artists probably like anime and watch a lot of it. Superhero comic book artists probably read and like a lot of superhero comic books. Fantasy writers probably read a lot of fantasy novels and so on. Why do you think things like tropes exist? Common ideas and themes appear in certain genres so much because artists will see others using and enjoying these common ideas and then apply them to their own work and oftentimes put their own spin and twist on things. As such, inspiration is truly expected of every artist. It's not a crime and it's not rocket science to notice similarities between someone's work and the work of someone that they look up to. And these similarities don't make one or the other pieces of work any less valid or important to someone. Sorry to have gone on that entire tangent, but it's important to the subject of this video. For months, I have been dealing with people constantly comparing my work to other things. At first, when it initially started happening, I was very passive and even responded to a couple of comments confirming that I was or was not inspired by whatever or whoever they were comparing my work to. I have always been either hurt or annoyed by these comments, but I thought that if I deleted or ignored them or blocked people who said things like that all the time, then people would think that I was like trying to hide that I'm inspired by different creators or media, and that I was actually trying to rip people off or something. However, I am not, and I'm not afraid of, saying that I'm inspired by people. So let's just rip the bandage off, and I will discuss the person who I get compared to the most. Dramalja, also known as Tirza, Tease, and Dollyguts. I'll call them Tease for the sake of this video because it's the easiest to say. My work is constantly compared to Tease's work. I have seen people doing it in both of our comment sections before, and it drives me utterly insane. I've gotten comments calling me a Tease knockoff, or I've seen people saying that my style is exactly like theirs, or even people saying that their work is just like mine. Full transparency, I am very much inspired by Tease. They're one of my favorite artists, and I really like their newer work. Their 2023 art is composed of a lot of pieces that I absolutely adore to look at. They're eye candy, and I love those art pieces, oh my gosh, and they inspire me a lot. Though I like their newer work most, their older work has made a large impact on me as well because I admired how they used their art to express themselves and what they were going through, and they were not afraid to have darker and heavier themes in their work. However, having my work compared to theirs, despite how much I love their art, devalues both of our work. I'm not jaded or stupid, nor am I going to lie. I can see that our work has some stylistic similarities, but we have our own flares and our own way of expressing ourselves, and these similarities don't mean that I am plagiarizing them or that our work is interchangeable. A lot of our stylistic overlap is not anything that Tease even invented. Things like sparkles, glitter, cute pink things, and Lolita fashion mixed with dark themes existed in the yummy kawaii and manharake subcultures for a long time before Tease was ever even on the scene. And many of our other stylistic overlaps, in the ways that we draw people for example, are things that are common in anime in general, such as thick eyelashes, huge eyes, small and pouty mouths, and sparkly highlights. Despite some stylistic overlap, we both choose to say and do different things in our art, and it means different things to us personally. Especially when it comes down to writing, I'm not really familiar with most of their stories, but I would assume that their stories are a lot different than mine. Their characters and my characters are probably each very unique, and they have their own stories, personalities, and visual elements, and also their own personal meanings to us as the creators. My art and my creations mean so much to me on a personal level, and having them devalued into being exactly like this more popular person's work is very offensive and disheartening to me. I also want to point out that Tease isn't like my only inspiration. I'm a big fan of and inspired by a bunch of other creepy cute and pastel goth artists, like, going down a list here, there's Damaged Dolly, Cotton Dreams Oh Woe, Dokansa, Angelic Corpse, Eggy Soup, and Yami Bite, and that's the short list even. All of us have similar style overlap, there's no denying that, but comparing our art to each other is just rude, and it disregards all of our own individual flares and our skills and our efforts and what we put into our art. This is especially the case for people who, use their art like I do, because a lot of us use our art to vent and cope with things that we are going through in our real lives, and comparing our very personal pieces to others is even more invalidating. Even outside of the realm of creepy cute stuff, I'm inspired by a myriad of different things. Things like video games, movies, books, TV shows, and even YouTube videos inspire me to create things. Hell, in the background of this very video, I am drawing fan art for the indie pixelated horror game Faith. My inspirations and interests are all over the place, clearly. Now with that being said, a lot of people might be watching this and wondering, hey Rot, not everybody is comparing your art to something or someone else to devalue it, heck, some people may even be doing it as a compliment. Well, what I have to say to that is, shut the fuck up. I don't really give a single flying frosted fergalicious flamingo fuck what the intention of the comment is, especially because even in good faith, comparing my art to something else is still devaluing it. Think of it this way. I have heard so many people say, oh my gosh, your work is like this thing I like, so I like your art because of that. Or, your art reminds me of this person, so that's why I like it. Whether or not you mean to, this sounds like you literally just like my art because it reminds you of something else you like more. It sounds to me like you don't care about my work for what it is, but for how similar it is to someone else's. Thanks, dude, that's an awful feeling, actually. You just like me because I remind you of someone else? Fuck do you even get out of my work anyways if you're just observing the most surface-level details and not caring about any of the deeper nuances and efforts that I put into my work? I'm not saying that liking my creations because they appeal to a genre you like is wrong, by the way. That's normal. If you like my art, you'll probably like a lot of other horror and creepy cute artists. Again, it's not rocket science, people probably like me because they like yummy kawaii art. It's not a problem. But implying that you only like anything I do because you see it as an extension of something else that already exists, as if I don't have anything unique about me or about my appeal, is very hurtful and discouraging. So yeah, point is, comparing an artist's work to someone else's or a piece of popular media is incredibly rude. Don't do it. From now on, if I see people doing it, I will be deleting comments. It is very frustrating and annoying that, despite all the love and care I put into something, all I get in return is, haha, your style like other thing, haha. I really do not care if you compare my art to someone else's as some sort of ass-backwards type of compliment, or if you're actually trying to be rude, it really doesn't matter to me. Both are equally degrading and devaluing of my work, and I'm tired of seeing it. Asking about my inspirations is fine. I genuinely do not mind being transparent about the things that I like and that inspire me. But I don't want to have to live in the shadow of something or someone else because my work just has some similarities with some other person's art. I want to create things and, make things that matter and resonate with people. And there you have it. Thank you all for watching if you got to the end of this video. I know this video is a bit more ranty and harsh than the kinds of stuff that I usually make, but these types of comments have been driving me buggy for months, and I am near going full Ice Pick lobotomy on the next person who says my art is anything like fucking Vivian Madrano's, I swear to God. With all of that being said, rate and subscribe if you feel inclined to do so, maybe write a comment if you have any thoughts or questions for me. Remember that all of my socials and my Ko-Fi are linked in the description if you want to support me. I still have commissions open if you're interested in ordering one. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will now bid you all adieu.